right, today we're talking about consciousness. If you've been to metaphysics or studied with us for any length of time, you could probably all give me the definition. Consciousness is your functioning level of awareness. It's the aspects of you that you employ as you're going about your business in your world. It's how you live. We can actually know an awful lot, but how we use what we know is our consciousness. So, education helps build the files, but it's application that allows it to express. Education builds the files, but application allows it to express. Consciousness is a compilation of what you believe to be true and how you act on it. What you believe to be true and how you act on it. We know a lot of things, but if we don't access what we know in our decision-making process, it does not help us in our consciousness. Think of all the things you know that just sits in a file. Gathering dust somewhere. Yeah. When Jesus spoke, there's one scripture in the Aquarian where he's speaking to a group of people, and it says there are many shades of thought. That means there's many different levels of consciousness, many different people wanting different things. Some people were just following the bauble of the day, you know, the newest workshop craze. Go learn how to do that or that. Some people were looking at Jesus trying to figure out, how do I bottle this and market it and make money? Yeah? Other people just were receiving openly. So Jesus would speak in parables. Parables, profound stories that held wonderful truths. And as he spoke in parables, it would go across the audience, and people could receive their level of consciousness. Food for their level of consciousness. So it really didn't matter where they were, and they would all leave with a different realization. Remember? Any given Sunday, you can stand out and listen to people as they leave, and they will all get something different. That really spoke to me. I really got that. You know, the music was the highlight. I hear that sometimes too. A shift in consciousness can only occur when there is an expression in the outer. We have to express, we have to act, and we have to own. Okay? All right. Spirit wanted me to share with you a pivotal point in my life when I experienced this moment. And so I'm going to share it with you. I was a sophomore in high school. So I was maybe 16, maybe 15, but it was that year. And my experience had been in the 3 prior years, it was a different state and a different school. We moved around a lot. And the school I had gone to before in the other state had been filled with a particular religion. I was one of 600 children, or actually 3 of 600 children was not that religion. So it was a little ostracized. Nobody would talk to me because I was not of that religion. So I came to Georgia feeling like, okay, I'm good with people not talking to me. So I was probably 3/4 of the way into my school year, and there are many classes where I didn't even know anybody, which is unusual for me. I'm a very social creature. And I was in my world history class, and I like world history. I love history. And I was there, you know, didn't know, I'd say hi to people, but that was pretty much it. And I would just sit and do my work. I was a good student. And the teacher would sometimes, you know, cordon off, and you'd be on a team, and you'd be on a team, and you'd be on a team, and she'd make all these teams. And then she'd throw questions out and put them on the board, and whatever team got the most questions, you know, won for the day. They got to wear the little honor of having beat the rest of the class. Well, it was just another day for me. So I was sitting there, and I was put on a team of 2 other guys who were professional D students. I liked them fine. They were nice to me. They were good kids. She came back to the back of the class where I was sitting, and she looked at me in the eye, and she said, where no one else could hear her, "Don't hold back." I'm sure she saw shock on my face. Don't hold back? I never said anything. You know, let them all fight for it, you know? Okay. I sat up, I was awake, and it was me and the questions. And it was me and the teacher. I didn't think about the class, I didn't think about anything. The teacher was really trying to see what I knew. She didn't realize I had already logged 16 years of developing my intuition. I was almost 16 years old. So I knew the questions before they came out of her mouth. So she would start with one question, and my hand would be in the air, of course, with the correct answer. And I didn't see anything but me and the teacher. At the end of the class, on the scoreboard, there were maybe 3 or 4 questions that were not mine. Of the other 26 to 30-something questions, they were all mine. And this one little pod was all marked up, and my 2 teammates were high-fiving each other. They were on the winning team. When I left that day, I don't think any of my classmates said anything to me. They didn't know me. Here was this unleashed monster, you know? But I didn't care. I walked out, and I remember distinctly when she said those words to me, I can still see her face. And when I walked out, I was happy. I had gotten to be myself. I had gotten permission from this woman to be who I am. And I am intuitive. And I had a little razor-sharp brain at the time. And I got to let it express. She never said it to me again. And she didn't need to. I didn't need to have that, because when I walked out that day, I owned my intuition. And I owned who I was. And it didn't matter. The next step forward, I had crossed that threshold. Do you see what I'm saying? Those words, "don't hold back," were pivotal for me. It didn't matter that people didn't understand me. It didn't matter I'm in a new school again the next year, a new school again. That didn't matter. I knew who I was, and my level of consciousness shifted. It shifted because I was able to act on and express what I had been growing for 16 years. Application, expression, very important. In Jesus' walk with the disciples, you know, those disciples, the inner 12 circle, and then he had a lot of others that followed, but those inner 12, they were with him for 2.5 years, almost 3 years before he sent them out alone, you know? And while they were with him, what were they doing? Were they just watching? No, they were healing, they were teaching, they were talking. They were applying, weren't they, what they knew? But did they worry about dinner? No. Did they worry if they made a mistake, something bad was going to happen? No, because they were under the wing of the Master. So he grew them, taught them, showed them, and then it came a time when they had to cross the threshold. They had to go into that moment of manifestation. So I wanted to share with you, this is in the Aquarian 123 and 122. Jesus says to the 12, "Behold, the multitudes have thronged about us everywhere. The people are bewildered. They wander here and there like a sheep without a fold. They need a loving shepherd's care. They want a loving hand to lead them. The grain is ripe, the harvest is abundant, but the harvesters are few. The time is also ripe, and you must go alone through all the villages and towns of Galilee and teach and heal." And then he breathed on them. And then he told them. He gave them this beautiful power, the blessing of Holy Spirit, the omnific word. And he said, "Go and tell them the kingdom of the Christ has come. You must go in faith. You've received abundantly, you must now give abundantly. Go in faith. Don't take your extra money. Don't take your extra clothing. Go in faith. Everything will be provided for you. And as you go and have this experience, it's not going to be that easy. Seek out righteous men. You go for me, you act for me. They who receive you and welcome you, receive and welcome me. And they who shut their doors against your face, refuse to welcome me. If you're not received in kindness in a town, don't bear away an evil thought. Don't resist. Evil of any kind dissipates your power. When you are not received with favor, go your way, for the multitudes of men want the light. And he goes to warn them all the things they're going to face. It's not going to be easy. But off you go. And he sent them 2 by 2. And out they went to do their teaching, their preaching, and their healing outside of the arm of the master. Did they know how they were being fed now? Don't take any money. They had no idea how they were being fed. Do you think they went with a little bit of trepidation? A little, I'm sure when they first walked out, they'd just gotten the blessing, and I'm sure they walked out and went, this is cool, we can do this. You know, they're going out 2 by 2, we can do this. Mile away, 2 miles away, 3 miles away, that night, the next night. Don't you think they started wondering? You know? And then they'd have a good meeting and a good healing, and then they'd meet somebody that didn't like them. You know, it is a process. But do you think when they came back, they were changed? It says in the next chapter, in the very next chapter, he sends out the foreign masters with the same mission. God did not come just for one people. He came for all mankind, and you are all representing the 7 centers of the earth. Now you go and teach. So he sent them all out as well. But at the end of 123, it talks about when the disciples came back. In just a little while, the 12 apostles came and told the Master all about their journey over Galilee. They said that by the sacred word they had done mighty works, and Jesus said to them, well done. The very next chapter, the very next verse. The 12 apostles had now reached the stage of spirit consciousness, and Jesus could reveal to them the deeper meanings of his mission to the world. What, there's more? Wouldn't you think, aren't you surprised? Wouldn't you think these guys have already mastered? They went out on their own and they did all this work. And now they come back and it's like, okay, now you're ready. Now you're ready for your next level of consciousness. Now you're ready to shift. You have owned where you are. You're ready to now go higher. What if when I had owned my intuition as that little girl, and I did do readings at the time, but little baby readings, what if I owned it and just stayed there? Would I be doing what I do today? Would I have moved into doing readings and counseling with people and working at the spiritual level of channeling with God? No. But it took that first step to take the next step and to take the next step. Consciousness. Our consciousness is an ever-shifting, ever-growing phenomenon. How we learn and how we apply makes our lives real. They were now ready to learn. What does that tell you about you? Is there more? There's always more. All right. When we are in metaphysics, what's the first thing that we learn when we join a metaphysical group? That our thoughts, our words are so powerful and creative. Don't we learn that first? We go, oh yeah, my thoughts, my words, that's what's creating this stuff. Okay. And we learn, be positive. Say positive things. Say positive things. And what do? We stuck it somewhere, stick it in a file somewhere. We stick it in a file somewhere. And our teacher says, now go into your world and say positive things. Edit yourself. So we get the instruction to go, don't we? And what do? Why do we hold back? Why do we hold back? Because it's easier to say, this is crummy. It's easier to say, that'll never happen. It's easier to say the things we've always said because they keep us in the world that we already know. Anyone who has been editing their words to positive output, what does it take? Conscious application. Conscious application. Continual conscious application. To discipline the mind to rise to a new level. Why do you hold back? Why do you hold back? Think. We're rising to a new world every time we rise into a new level of consciousness. How great's your world? I mean, you can look around it. Is it working for you? Is everything the way you want it? Everything tucked up? Yeah. Do you have bigger dreams? Do you have bigger dreams? You know, I was talking with Spirit the other day, and they reminded me, which I had never thought of, being not the scholastic student. They said, do you realize you've been to almost every continent? And I went, really? How many are there? Which ones have I not been started clicking them off, and I said, Patrick, we've got 2 more continents we need to hit before our life is over, you know? And I think it was Spirit's way of giving me bigger dreams, you know? You don't realize what you have done. There's 2 more places you could go to have that experience. My level of consciousness took me here. It'll take me a bigger one to take me there, you see? Acting, acting, acting on what you know. And it starts with these little steps. We're not going to manifest the bigger dream until we start actually changing our actions here now. Expressing what we need to express here now. All right. You guys, at some level, believe you're a shining star, don't you? Mm-hmm. Do you do anything that promotes that? When someone asks for you to share your talent and ability, do you hold back? Do you wait for someone else to step up? Happens all the time around here. Who wants a healing? Oh, they'll look at one another. I don't know, you, do you? Okay, I want the one that says yes. I don't want to work on the one that's asking someone else if they should have it or not. So that means they're not ready. Who wants to take an opportunity to step up? I don't know. Okay, who? Let me see a yes. And that's how the world works. Who's ready to say yes to these beautiful talents and abilities in their lives? Who's ready to begin to express that level of consciousness? And what they said was, you may not have someone in the outer telling you don't hold back. You know what I'm saying? You may not have that voice outside you that says it's time. But you always, always, always have that inner voice that says it's time. You have a voice inside you that says, don't hold back. Or you have a guidance within you that tells you from a feeling, don't hold back. And if you're not following that, you know what voice you get to hear? You get to hear the voice of the material world. And you know what the material world tells you? Your job's hard, this relationship isn't working, life is not moving for you, you are plateaued and stagnating. And then you push against the material and say, well, I've got to change my job, change my relationship, when all you have to change is your level of consciousness. And it can start by simply going back to the first thing you learned in metaphysics. Speak positively. How simple is that? Or pick another principle. Love everyone. That's a little harder. It's a little harder. Love everyone. Speak positively. What if you took one principle and said, I'm going to dust that file off, I'm going to pull that in, and I'm going to act on it and shift? Do you feel challenged? Do you feel inspired? If the disciples studied with Jesus for 2.5 years, and don't you think they thought they had it? We got it going on. We're with the Master. We got it going on. And then he sends them out 2 by 2. And they start going through their stuff. And then they get it. And they come back. We got it. We got it going on. We're good. And he goes, no. You're just now teachable. How much more lies before us? How much more lies before us? We're having our congregation meeting this afternoon. And we've been working on generating energy, love, and light to build a new sanctuary of inner light. We started in 2005, so that's 7 years. Was it 2005, our first little t-shirts with our Sanctuary of Inner Light logo? And we've just been collecting energy, collecting money, trying to raise consciousness, raise commitment to have that. And well, I was just meditating this week, because we've got our congregational meeting this afternoon where we're going to talk about where we stand in the project, and we're making progress. Some of it has been slower than we would have liked. And Spirit said, why don't you put an E on soil? Sanctuary of Inner Light Expressing. Sanctuary of Inner Light we have built. And we've built it in the hearts of every single person that's been coming low all these years. You have that inside you. Now it's time for it to be seen in the outer. Sanctuary of inner light expressing. As we as a church make this, do y'all think that's a good idea before I move forward? We shall vote on it during the congregational meeting. But what if we as a church take that little expressing and agree upon it and begin to speak as if? What doors open then? What manifest can occur? And what have we now lifted to in our level of consciousness as a church? Y'all with me? Are y'all getting ideas of where you might be needing to take advantage of some expression that you've been growing? And they said very specifically, it's time to own what you've grown. It's time to own what you've grown. You've been working on this stuff so long. It's time to now step out. Be the kid in the chair, and 16 years old, and share your truth with the world. Be fearless. Don't think about anybody around you. Don't think about what the ramifications of it might be. Nobody was mean to me afterwards. They just went, crazy girl. They didn't care. I didn't impact their world, but I impacted my world. Be that person who now says, I am unafraid to be what I have been growing myself to become. Sound easy? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Levels of consciousness are meant to change. We are meant to evolve. We are meant to grow. This is the place where we are here to manifest. That every minute we're here should be filled with us growing. How simple is this? All right, let's take it within. I want you to see a beautiful column of light come over you. Feel that love of God just beginning to fill you. And as this light engulfs you, I want you to just take a visual perception. Just let yourself see your vibrating energy. Feel the vibrating energy that emits from you. It may be very organized and systematic, maybe very crazy and hectic, maybe very dim, it may be very bright. The emitting energy that you see reflects the level of consciousness that you're choosing to express. I want you to feel that beautiful light of God's love pouring through you now. And ask that God's love just begin to pour through that vibration that you see. And notice how God's love feeds you right where you are. God does not make you change. God's love feeds what you choose. Let the light pour through you now. And if you are ready to take a step, ask that this light begin to expand your level of consciousness. Just to open it up for some breathing room. Open it up. Open it up. You should be able to feel that energy expanding. Can you feel it? Mm-hmm. Breathe. And now let your focus go to your heart. Feel that beautiful tender space within you. What do I need to act on? What have I been growing that I need to now bring into my world? What do I need to express? And I want you to feel, listen, just feel the energy. What do I need to express? Feel God loving you. And if you felt the energy but don't know what it is, just take it in. You'll know. If you got the words or the idea or the vision of what it might be, take it in. If you say yes to taking this action, it will be created for you. Breathe and feel that beautiful love of God. And I want you to realize, feel your own energy, and now begin to feel the potential around you. See the energy outside this matrix. See the energy around you. Feel your own potential as a spiritual being, as a human spirit, Christ being on this planet. How much more lies just outside your field. Just outside your field. How much more there is. Can you feel that? That is where you grow to. I am ready. I am ready to take a step. Father, Mother God, bless each one this day. Truly lift them into that greater knowing, that greater awareness of the shift that can occur. Through discipline or through a moment. I ask that they be guided and blessed. And we thank you that this beautiful opportunity we have on this planet, that we can fully embrace it in your love. Take a breath, send your love out into the room. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. You know, every week I give you homework. Do you have any idea what your homework might be today? Be awake. Just be awake to the choices that are before you. No man can tell you what to do, but I can certainly encourage you. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Say, "Yeka."
Yeah.